She was a garden. Her shoots are orchards of pomegranates, henna, saffron, calamus and cinnamon, frankincense and myrrh. She was a fountain in the garden. She was all the streams flowing from Lebanon, limpid and emerald, Pacific and shimmering. My first impressions were literary. I saw the words before I met the students. Their English tended to be slightly formal, but it wasn't stiff. There were moments of emotion and exuberance. Sometimes they made a comment that pushed against the establishment. One woman wrote, "I am still under 18 years old now, living in an ivory tower isolated from the world outside. I'm expecting to change it." All of them were undergraduates, and for the most part, they had been born around the turn of the millennium. They had been middle school students in 2012, when Xi Jinping had risen to become China's leader. Since then, Xi had consolidated power to a degree not seen since the days of Mao Zedong, and in 2018, the Constitution was changed to abolish term limits. These college students were members of the first generation to come of age in a system in which Xi could be leader for life. The last time I had arrived in Sichuan as a teacher was in 1996, when Deng Xiaoping was still alive. While reading applications, I imagined how it would feel to return to the classroom, and I copied sentences that caught my eye. Only when a nation knows its own history and recognizes its own culture can it gain identity. Just as Sartre said, men are condemned to be free. We are left with too many choices to struggle with, yet little guidance. Actually, all of us are like screws in a big machine, small but indispensable. Only when everyone works hard will our country have a brighter future. The range of topics made it virtually impossible to compare applications, but I did my best. I had to limit the enrollment to 30, which was already too many for an intensive writing course. After selecting the students, I sent a note to everybody else, inviting them to apply again the following semester. But one rejected girl showed up on the first day of class. She sat near the front, which may have been why I didn't notice. I assumed that anybody trying to sneak in would position herself near the last row. At the end of the second week, when she sent a long email, I still had no idea who she was or what she looked like. Dear teacher, my name is Serena, an English major at Sichuan University, and I am writing in hope of your permission for me to attend, as an auditor, your Wednesday night class. I failed to be selected. I have been in the class since the first week, and I sensed and figured my presence permissible. I want to write. As Virginia Woolf thought, only life written is real life. I wish to be a skilled observer, to present life, or idealized images on paper, like resurrection, or in eternal lines to time thou growest. I started to appreciate writer's diction, not as a natural flow of expression, but careful strategies and efforts. I began to put myself in the writer's shoes, and set out to sharpen my ear as a way to hear the sound of writing, consonance or dissonance, jazz, chord, and finally symphony. Perhaps I'm being paranoid, and no one will drag me out. If you can't give me permission, I'll still come to class in disguise until I am forced to leave. Happy Mid-Autumn Festival. Thank you for your time. Yours cordially, Serena. I composed an email explaining that I couldn't accept auditors, but I hesitated before pressing send. I read Serena's note once more, and then I erased my message. I wrote, "The college is concerned about auditing students because the course needs to focus on those who are enrolled. But I much appreciate your enthusiasm, and I want to ask if you are willing to take the class as a full student, doing all of the coursework." I was violating my own rules, but I sent the email anyway. It took her exactly 3 minutes to respond. When I told other China specialists that I planned to return to Sichuan as a teacher, and that my wife, Leslie, and I hoped to enroll our daughters in a public school, some people responded, "Why would you go back there now?" Under Xi Jinping, there had been a steady tightening of the nation's public life, and a number of activists and dissidents had been arrested. In Hong Kong, the Communist Party was reducing the former British colony.